Jessica Melissa Currin was born November 29 in 1981. Jessica was the daughter of Joe and Jean Currin. Her father was Mayfield's fire chief. Jessica grew up in Mayfield, Kentucky in a Christian home. The family went to church religiously at Lee Church of Christ in Mayfield. Mayfield, Kentucky has a population of around 10,000 citizens. It's located in the southwest corner of the state. It's about 26 miles from Paducah, Kentucky. Over 25% of the Mayfield's population falls below the poverty line. The majority are white. Mayfield was greatly affected by drugs and petty crimes. Jessica was described as being quiet and a little shy. She was a cheerleader, ran cross-country, and popular in Mayfield Middle School. She then attended Graves High School. She was the ideal student, making high grades. Jessica had an older brother Joe, a younger brother Josh, and a younger sister named Julissa. The younger siblings attended Mayfield Middle School. When Jessica was 17, she had a one-night stand with a young white man named Jeremy Adams. He was a petty criminal, and addicted to drugs. He suffered from a sociopathic personality disorder, with an IQ of 87. Several weeks later Jessica found out she was pregnant. She told her parents she was raped. She dropped out of high school and gave birth in December of 1999 to a son she named Zion. Jessica threw herself into being the best mom possible. She also began working toward getting her GED. She had plans to attend community college the following semester. In early July of 2000 Jessica found her own place in southeast Mayfield, and was about to embark on a bright future for her and her son Zion. She began casually dating a young man by the name of Carlos Saxton, but the two were not seriously involved. Jessica's parents felt that her reasons for moving out was due to them having curfews, but she assured them she just wanted a fresh start. On July 29, Jessica asked her mother Jean to babysit her 7-month-old son Zion. Jessica's mother was overjoyed to watch her grandson. She told her mother she was going to spend the evening with her friends at her apartment. Jessica told her mother to pick her up for church in the morning. The next morning, Jessica's parents showed up at her apartment to pick her up for church, but she didn't answer the door. Nobody was home. Her parents assumed she was still with her friends and went on to church. After church, Jessica was still not at her apartment. They checked a few more times. The next morning they drove back over to their daughter's apartment and still Jessica was not home. Even though this was odd behavior for their daughter, they chalked it up to her being young and decided not to call the police just yet. They believed Jessica would show up. On the morning of August 1 in 2000 at around 9:30 a.m. a teacher found Jessica Currin's burned and decomposing body on the Mayfield Middle School grounds. The body was against the back wall area of the school. Next to the body was a huge clump of hair and a charred, black braided belt. Near her feet was a bottle that smelled strongly of gasoline. Newly assigned homicide investigator Tim Fortner at first thought the body was a mannequin, until he noticed the flies. Police believed Jessica's body had been there for around 48 hours. When Fortner took a closer look he noticed her clothes and skin was badly burnt, blisters covered her arms, and her underwear had been forcibly ripped off, and found beside her body. There were deep, bludgeon marks to the back of her head. Another blow had broken her nose. Fortner, age 31, began as a deputy jailer, then a patrolman with Mayfield's police department. He had no experience in gathering evidence. He stood over Jessica Currin's body unsure of what he should do. Despite his lack of experience or training, he was placed in charge of the case. "I didn't have a clue what to do next," recalls Fortner, who is still mystified why he was chosen to lead the case. "I had no idea how to organize a crime scene or look for forensic evidence. Frankly, I was scared stiff." The large patch of hair was labeled as Item 9 by Fortner, but it never reached the police station. The evidence that did make it downtown, DNA from her nails, strands of hair in her hand, the plastic bottle with gasoline in it, revealed not a single useful fingerprint. And once the evidence reached the Mayfield police station, the boxes of evidence became contaminated with evidence from other cases. More of it was lost or misplaced. 2 rape swab tests from other crimes found their way into the box labeled Currin. Joe and Jean Currin discovered that a body was located at the school and immediately went to the police station. When they were shown clothing and jewelry, they identified that it was their daughter. Identity was later confirmed by dental records. Dr. Mark LaVaughn, the state medical examiner, performed an autopsy, and discovered Currin died by strangulation, due to a charred black, braided leather belt found next to the body. Due to the substantial burning, and decomposition of the body, it could not be determined with certainty that Currin was raped. The time of death was determined to be on July 29 in 2000. Jessica Currin's funeral was held on August 5 in 2000 at Burton Funeral Home, and she was buried at Oak Rest Cemetery in Graves County, Kentucky. The morning after the murder, on July 30, Graves County Deputy Sheriff Mike Perkins noticed a man, Quincy Cross, pushing a blue car on the side of the road. Deputy Perkins stopped and questioned Cross. He told the deputy he had ran out of fuel. Perkins noted that Cross did not have a shirt, shoes or belt on, and had the smell of gas on his clothing. Perkins also noticed a gas can in the back seat. Perkins searched the car, then arrested Cross when he found cocaine. Cross told the deputy he was scared he would be charged in Jessica Currin's murder because he smelled like gas. This was strange due to the fact that Jessica's body had not even been found by this point. Quincy Cross, 24 years old, had a criminal history of assaulting women, and drug offenses. He was from Tennessee. He grew up in an abusive home. He dropped out of school in the 9th grade, and ran away to get away from the continuous abuse of his stepfather. Quincy's first arrest was an assault on his girlfriend. He claimed she stole money from him, then he choked her. Police discovered the Cross had been to a party on July 29, the same night Jessica Currin was murdered. They began interviewing others who attended the party. On the night of the party, Cross wore a belt similar to the one found around Jessica Currin's neck. Despite the startling revelation about the belt, and suspicious behavior on the morning after the murder, he was dropped as a suspect. A $10,000 reward was offered for information about the murder. Months passed with no breakthrough in the case. The father of Jessica's baby, Adams, was in jail on an unrelated drug charge. It took Fortner 6 months to speak with him, despite the fact that numerous tips came in that Jessica threatened her son's father. The tips said that Jessica threatened to tell his current girlfriend that he fathered her son. It was told that Jeremy may have wanted to murder Jessica to keep her quiet. When Fortner spoke to Jeremy Adams, he showed him crime scene pictures to help him remember. When Adams went back to jail, he was so shocked by what he saw, and told his cellmate, Jesse Roberts, details about the pictures. A few days later, Jesse Roberts told the jailer that Adams had talked to him about the murder, suggesting that he knew too much. And mentioned that Carlos Saxton helped Adams. Fortner and a few other detectives interviewed Adams again, and claimed he made some statements and inadvertently they called it a confession. On the 15th of February 2001, 20-year-old Jeremy Adams was charged with murder, tampering with physical evidence and abuse of a corpse. 2 days later, 20-year-old Carlos Saxton was charged with complicity in the murder. Jeremy Adams and Carlos Saxton were both arrested based solely on the jailhouse informant's testimony. There was no evidence tying either to the actual murders. With the alleged confession, the case went before a grand jury and recommended the indictment of Adams and Saxton for the murder of Jessica Currin. They would be tried separately. Police theorized that Adams and Saxton picked up Jessica as she was walking, and took her to the school, where she was murdered. However, Adams' defense claimed that Adams was simply recalling to his cellmate what the police told him about the pictures. A year later, Adams' trial began, however it didn't last long. The trial quickly ended. Faulkner and the Mayfield police had withheld 18 pieces of evidence from the defense. The judge was so furious that he threatened to jail Faulkner for his ineptitude. Even the prosecuting attorney told the judge that if he hadn't stopped the trial, then the prosecution would have called for dismissal. Shortly after, the case against Carlos Saxton was also dismissed. At this point, the incompetence of the case by the police became public. Despite the clear evidence against Quincy Cross, police were laser-focused on her ex-boyfriend and current boyfriend on the word of an inmate. And evidence was lost or mishandled early on in the case. Jessica's dress was thrown away, and her rape kit was put into a box with other rape kits, which contaminated the evidence. The hair found beside Jessica's body was lost. Jessica's apartment was thoroughly cleaned before investigators searched it for evidence. The Mayfield Police Department hit an all-time low. In the following years, turnover rate was at all-time high of 70%. Low pay and morale turned to inadequate policing and poor procedures. The Jessica Currin murder hung over Faulkner's head since the trial against Adams fell apart. After the trial, despite his lack of skills, he was promoted to assistant police chief when his boss resigned due to selling a video recorder and stereo that was evidence on another case. On February 20 in 2003, the Mayfield Police Department finally realized they were way over their heads with this case and turned it over to the Kentucky State Police. By this time, Jeremy Adams was in jail on an unrelated offense. He called the Kentucky State Police to come interview him. He wanted to provide them with some information he discovered. He also requested a polygraph to clear his name. The detective interviews Adams for over 2 hours before the polygraph. Let's listen to a portion of the interview.
Alright, Jeremy, do you have any nicknames or aliases that you go by? What do people normally call you?
I'm Jeremy.
Alright.
I've been to the penitentiary 4 times, and I was the way I was raised. I don't really believe in telling nobody, period, much less making a lie on it.
Okay.
You know, it's been a very hard decision for me to make to even come forward with this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't believe in telling on nobody anyway. I met her when I was walking down the street. Me and my girlfriend had gotten into it. Every time my girlfriend me and her get into it, she just puts me out. You know, she just said, get on out. Yeah, just get on out of here, get away from me. And I just rather just get away from her and sit there and argue with her. You know, she got one of them mouths and just make you mad, just get away from me. So I just take off walk. This particular night, I decided to walk down Broadway. You know, there's a whole lot of lights and buildings and stuff like that. I'm walking and I see a black car. I can't remember exactly what model of the car it was, but it was kind of like a Pro. I remember it had a hatchback on it, a 2-door, and I heard some females in the car. I'm across the street from a gas station. There's a gas station. There's a payphone right there. I guess they was talking on the phone. And I heard them, hey, come here. I'm like, it's females, you know. Me and my girl just got into it, so I'm going over this.
Sure. Check it out.
Yeah, I'm seeing what's going on. I go over there, and she's, there's a black chick in there, you know what I'm saying? And there's a white chick in there. The white chick's on the phone. You know, the car is backed in with the front end of it facing the street. So, she asked me my name. We got to conversate a little bit. I asked her if they smoke weed. When the other chick got off the phone, I said, yeah, we smoke weed. Well, I had just got some weed for my cousin. They said, yeah, we smoke weed. And I said, well, what do y'all want to do? They said, well, we got to go do something first. You know, can you meet us over here on 15th Street by the Blue Building, or not the Blue Building, but the club, as they call it. It's not in a club. And I said, yeah, I can meet you over there. So I walked on down to the gas station. I got some cigars, 'cause that's, pretty sure, that's what younger people smoke weed out of.
Mm-hmm.
I went down there and I decided to walk on down there. As I was walking into the parking lot, they was pulling in and coming up the hill pulling in.
Mm-hmm.
So we went in the room, went straight back to the back bedroom. I rolled up 2 or 3 cigars, blunts, as they call on the streets. And we smoked, and I asked Jessica, I was physically attracted to her, and I could tell by the way she was talking to me, she wasn't real flirtatious or, but I could tell, I can kind of get that sense when somebody is attracted to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I asked her if she wanted to walk outside, go walking or something. We go out first, we sat in the car. I remember we sat in the car and we didn't even sit in the car, so we got out of the car. We just, there's a little street behind the apartments. And there's an abandoned house up on top of the hill. We got to talking about sex and, things like that. I was high, so when I'm high, I just come out and say anything. If it's on my mind, I'm going to say it.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked her, we could have sex. We ended up going up to this abandoned house. We had sex right there behind the house. I was kind of scared to go in the house. The window was open. I looked inside and there was a big water bed in there. I didn't know if it was cracked beans in there or what, so I ended up going there. So it was kind of a comedy way of, I feel like comedy too. So we went in the backyard. We had sex on the grass. And
What time of the year was it?
Well, I've added it up because when Jessica first got killed, I added it up. It said at the time that her child was 7 months old when she died. I added it up. I counted back 7 months, then 9 months. And it's going to put us in a 3-month time frame between, let's say, around April of 99. I'm going to say around April of 99 that we were supposed to have sex, you know what I'm saying? And it added up, what I got from it as far as the child and stuff like that. But after what happened that night, I gave her a kiss on her head. I remember I asked her because I didn't wear no condom. And I ejaculated inside of her. I remember it well.
Mm-hmm.
But I never even knew the girl's last name. All I knew was her name was Jessie. She introduced her name was Jessie.
Mm-hmm.
I asked her if she had AIDS. It kind of hurt her feelings, but my hormones got in the way at the time, and I wasn't thinking about that no way until after the fact. So I asked her, and it kind of hurt her feelings. And she said, no, I got nothing. And I kissed her on the forehead. I remember I didn't give her my pager number. She didn't give me her phone number. We had no ties whatsoever. I had a girlfriend. So I said, I'm going to have to go. We parted. And right after that, I got busted in Purdue for selling crack. I go to jail. I get out. I don't go back to court. I go on the run. I go to Murray, where my mama was staying, Dyersburg, Tennessee, Lima, Ohio, Indiana. I went a whole lot of places. Just, on the run. On the run, I didn't have no one particular spot that I'd like to stay because, like I said, I'm anxious, nervous type person, so real paranoid type person. So I didn't want to stay in just one spot, so I could move around, so the police wouldn't catch up with me. I think I was on the run probably 9 to 11 months. But I never seen Jessica Currin, I didn't even know that's who that was.
How did you know that Jessie, the one that you had sex with, find that out, was the same one that was killed?
Okay. Well, see, the police had been coming to me, right? When I first seen her picture on the TV, it was a glamour shot. I didn't recognize her in the glamour shot. So I was in Murray at the time. I'm watching my mom's TV, and I'm like, they just found a body in Mayfield. I didn't think nothing of it. It's kind of shocking. A murder in Mayfield. I didn't recognize the picture. Anyway, I ended up going back to Mayfield. I get caught by the police. They take me to jail. I'm on the run from Murray, Mayfield, and Paducah. I got charges in all 3 counties. So I go to Mayfield. I get charged. They take me to jail. All of a sudden, this guy Tim Fort, he's in the FBI. Came in there. They take me in the chapel. And they say, Jimmy Adams, you familiar with Jessica Currin? What? He said she was the one that was murdered behind the middle school. I'm like, why are you here talking to me about this? And they said, well, it's a rumor on the streets that you had a child by her. Well, like I said, I didn't remember her picture from on the TV. So I'm like, how can I have a baby by somebody and I don't even know her? See what I'm saying? It was an honest mistake. And they was like, well, before she died, she said that her father's name was Jeremy. It still ain't ringing.
Did they show you another picture of her then?
Later on, when I went to Paducah, see, I pled guilty to a bail jumping. They gave me 7 months time served, so I went on to Paducah to face my trafficking charges. I get down there, they start coming on a regular basis. They told me my name kept coming up as the father of this girl's child. So I'm like, man, how can I clear my name, man? So y'all leave me alone. I requested one of these. I requested a DNA test. They said they found DNA at the crime scene. And I said, man, give me a DNA test. I'm not guilty of nothing. I wasn't involved with this murder. Why would I kill her? There's no purpose in me killing her or being involved, period. So I did everything I could to try to clear my name. So they come and get me. I think it's the same day they come and get me to take a DNA test. They showed me I remember, I think it was January 15th, 2001. They showed me some crime scene photos. It had her body. It was outrageous. It was blitzed. You couldn't tell who she was or nothing like that. She was burnt to the crisp. And the pictures is close up. You know what I'm saying? So you can see up close her skin and stuff like that. Like for example, like if you look real close in the picture, her tongue is sticking out of her mouth. You know what I'm saying? Then real close, you can look down the side of her legs and it looks like something's dripping off her legs. And I'm thinking, you know what I'm saying, I go back to the cell and I tell these guys specific details, about these pictures. They turned around on me and said, and used that about me. I tell them that me and Lolo is the suspect in the case. They take that and use that against me and say I admit to it. But the DNA comes back, it don't match me or nothing.
So did they take your DNA and match it to the child?
No, they've never given me a DNA test on the baby. But sure enough, I believe the child is mine because, like I said, I'm the only Jeremy down there that I know of that hangs out in that area of town, or.
What about the other girl that night? Did you ever get her name?
I remember she was living, I seen her a whole lot down there where I was living. I was living on Anderson Street, and they call it the White Projects in Mayfield. She was living like right down on the curb, and I gave the police that information. I told them, I believe that's where she lives at. But I don't know what came out of that. But
you remember what her name was, though?
I have no idea. I remember she had long blonde hair, but I really didn't pay too much attention to her that night. She was kind of dingy, That's annoying to me, so that's why I told Jessica, I said, let's go outside. That's one of the reasons why, but the other reason why, because I want to have sex, to be truthful. But you asked me, how did I know about the baby and her, how did it come together that we realized who it was. But when we was driving back from the hospital, Western Baptist Hospital, I'm sitting in the back seat and I started thinking about that certain chick, and I remember she introduced herself as Jessie. Then I remember the girl Jessica. Then I remember her eye. I couldn't see it on the glamour shot. And this is the reason why I asked to see another picture. Her eye was it had like sleep in it, you know what I'm saying? Her eye was kind of messed up, you can tell. And I'm like, man, I believe it's her. You know, I'm starting to think about it more. The more I think about it, the more I'm, believing it's her. Mm-hmm. So we're riding back. I think we get back to the jail and they show me a picture of her holding a child. So I'm like, that's her. I remember her. And I said, see, I could have lied and said, man, I don't know her still. But instead, I told him the truth. Look, man, I do know her. And I looked at the child, and he looks just like my son, Jermion. Uh-huh. It looked like he had colored eyes and like green eyes. You know what I'm saying? He's a mixed child. It looked like he looked just like my son. Then I seen another picture of him in the paper where her mother was holding the child, and he's dead on my son, my first son. Mm-hmm. Well, not my first son, but by a certain female. Mm-hmm. But I put it together, and that opened up. It seems like that opened up by me being honest. That opened up the whole nother door, for them to keep coming back to me. You know what I'm saying? And then I go back. My heart was in the case from the beginning because when I seen them pictures, it crushed me. You know what I'm saying? In my mind, I'm thinking maybe after I found out who that was. I'm thinking, man, wonder if that child is mine, then that's my child's mama that got done like that. And still to this day, I remember them pictures in my head. That's something I'll never forget. Mm-hmm. But, my heart's been there for the simple fact I believe with all my heart that child is mine, to be truthful with you. And
so that brings us up to how you met her and those kind of things. Now, sometime after that, you told the detectives that you had a conversation with some people about
this.
Maybe they had some involvement with this.
This conversation took place, I'm going to say, back in February, March of this year. You know what I'm saying? The only person I had connections with, or not even a connection with, the only person I knew out of all three of these people, or all four of these people, which I only talked to two out of those four. But the only people I really knew was the chick, Benicia, and that was her best friend.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Benicia was this girl's best friend.
How did you come about meeting Benicia?
I met Benicia through my mother because my mother was friends with this girl named Jessica Tucker's mother, and Benicia was Jessica Tucker's friend too, and she would always be over. She's had a crush on me since she was like 13, 14 years old. She was real young, and I never give time of day. She was so young. I got out of the penitentiary January 30th of this year. And I've always believed that Benicia had personal knowledge of Jessica Currin's murder.
Right.
According to the police, that she's the last one to see the girl alive that night.
Oh,
see what I'm saying? She knows something. You know what I'm saying?
So you took it upon yourself to go talk to her?
See, like I said, let me give you an understanding why I went to her. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, my heart has been with this case,
sure,
from the get-go. I'm talking about deeply. Then the whole time I'm charged with the murder case, I'm seeing the families pain. You know, I'm witnessing it for myself. You know, I can see it in the face, and I can't possibly imagine my child be done the way their child was done. I can't possibly imagine the pain in that.
Sure.
You know, so I seen her mother and father at the mall. You know what I'm saying? This is after the conversations took place, you know. And I told them I could help them. I wanted so bad to tell them, but like I said, I've never had to come into the police and giving information. You know, I don't have that type of experience because I've never really got involved in that. But like I said, man, while I was charged with the murder, I kept telling the family, I kept telling everybody, man, I have no involvement in this. What would I kill this girl for? She's never done nothing to me. I only knew her for probably 45 minutes out of my life. There's nothing this girl could ever do to me, period, that make me want to do something like that to her. You know, I couldn't even do it to a man. You know, most I could probably do is beat him up or something, you know, but I couldn't do nothing like that to a man. A person like that, to me, they had no remorse. You know, they took it way out of proportion. It was overkill to me, you know. But anyway, like I said, my heart was involved. And I promised the Currins, I said, I would do what I can to do to help you. You know what I'm saying?
So when did you talk to Venetia?
I talked to Venetia. It was after I talked to Quincy Cross that he had killed her.
Mm-hmm. How come he said he killed her?
He didn't give me a reason why he killed her. You know?
When did this happen? When did you say this?
What day?
Yeah, do you remember what?
I don't know what day. I now remember it was either February or March of this year.
This year, though.
Then I talked to him.
What did he tell you?
See, we ended up getting into a fight that night over my girl that I'm with now. You know what I'm saying? Because while I'm in the penitentiary, he had tried to kiss her on the neck. You know what I'm saying? And I know at this time that he's a suspect in this case. So I'm thinking, if he's got anything to do with it, then he's around my other kid's mama, then I'm furious, you know, man, get away from her, you know. Then he tried to kiss her on her neck. See, his girlfriend, Victoria Caldwell, was my girlfriend's best friend. And they was always around each other, and he tried to kiss her on her neck, so when I got out of the pen, his name kept coming up. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, and I accused my girl of having sexual relations with him. You know what I'm saying? But a long time I come to find out that wasn't true. I decided to go to his house. I knew he was staying with Tamara down in the White Projects, again, where I used to live on Anderson Street. Mm-hmm. So I go down there, I knock on the door. You know, I'm drunk. You know, kind of acting foolish for real. Me and my girl, and again, we had an argument. Mm-hmm. And I left. I go knock on the door, and that just keeps going through my head. I can't get that out of my head, you know. What if they messed around while I was locked up? And then the situation, what if he killed Jessica Currin and then he's around my girl? You know,
What if he from hurting her?
Right, that's what I'm saying. That's the way I'm thinking. You know, so I decided to find out for myself. And I didn't have no intention to go down there and find out about a murder case, period. Mm-hmm. I went down there just to find out about what happened while I was locked up. Mm-hmm. So I knock on the door. Tamara answers the door. I look inside the door. She said, there he is right there. I look inside the door. He's playing with a baby. I said, come here, man. I'm mad. Come here, man. So he comes outside. I get in his face. I said, man, do you know who I am? He said, I got a really good idea. I said, who am I? I'm sure he knows who I am. I've been on TV for the last forever. You know, everybody knows who I am, whether I want them to or not. You know, and I said, do you know who I am? He said, yeah, your name is John. I said, well, what's this deal about you kissing my girl on her neck while I'm locked up? You knew that was my kid's mom. I know you did, because everybody in Mayfield knows that. You know, that I was with her. Then he said, man, I didn't do it. I said, okay, let's just go on over and talk to Ned. I'm going to get them both together. You know what I'm saying? When they get them both together, and that way I can determine who's lying. Either she's lying or he's lying. You know, one of them's lying. You know, I just wanted to get it to clear my conscience about the situation. But me and then on the way over, we started talking. I was just throwing little hints in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, I don't care as far as I said, man, you know, I was charged with that case. You know. And I would throw little things like little hints in there. I said, man, I know you. I believe in my heart that you was there. You know what I'm saying? You may not have done it or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I throw him all the way off. But it ain't none of my business. I don't care one way or the other. You know, that's not my business. You know, I was making him think, you know what I'm saying, like I had no feelings whatsoever for this chick. And that way he felt like he could trust me. You know what I'm saying? But we got over, you know, so we jumped down off the hill. We walked through a graveyard. We jumped down off the hill where we got on the railroad tracks. It just kept running through my head, you know, this guy, he kissed my girl on the neck, he kissed her on the neck. So we ended up getting a fight down on the railroad tracks. I don't know where the blood come from, but I had blood on my hand. I'm thinking it came from his head because his face wasn't bleeding. And we go, I live right across the railroad tracks. We go over on Maple Avenue. Then we get on over. We went in. My girl looks back. She sees Quincy Cross with me. She's like, oh my God. You know, why is he here? Like, well, what's this deal? What happened? You know, what's going on between you and him? What's the tie here? And come to find out that he kissed her on the neck and that they didn't have no sexual relations whatsoever. So I said to myself, well, I done beat him up, you know, so I'm gonna just go and leave it at that. She done seen the blood on my hand. I felt like I proved my point, you know, to her, you know, to him, you know, leave her alone, basically. That's my girl, don't mess with her. So I said, man, go on and get you a beer out of the refrigerator in there. Well, that's what he done. He kept going to the refrigerator. He just kept going in there. You know, I didn't care. You know, kept on telling him to get my beer. Plus, we had some Canadian mist. We had just had leftovers from my girlfriend's birthday party we had at her sister's house. And we just drinking, you know, listening to music. My mama she knew that his name was involved in that murder too. She tried to seduce him. It was kind of comedy, you know. I'm on one couch and my mama and Quincy Cross is on the other couch. She's over kissing on him and everything. And I'm laughing, but in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, well, what if he had something to do with that? And then my mom was over with me. See what I'm saying? So I'm like, oh my God. I said, Mama, get up off of him. You know, leave him alone. Anyway, he stayed over her till probably 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. You know what I'm saying? He was there pretty much all night long. I can't give you the exact time. I'm just.
But what did they take?
We go outside, you know what I'm saying, and we just start trading war stories. We start talking about the GD Nation, the Gangster Disciples and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? The number one code, the rule in the Gangster Disciples is silence. You know, and silence about anything that goes inside of that nation or that organization. Silence. If you shall not get outside that nation. If we get outside that nation, then there's repercussions as far as death or a violation. A violation could be anything. You know what I'm saying? Get beat up or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, we was trading war stories. We was out there just talking, kicking it. The whole time I'm shoving beer and Canadian whiskey in it, but I'm drinking myself too. But I'm not like him. And I would ask him something like, I would say again, I said, man, I care less. You know, that's none of my business. You know what I'm saying? I kept throwing little hints at it. And I said at one point, I said, to throw him all the way off and give him full assurance that he could trust me with information like that and that I didn't really have no concern for her. Truly I did, but I didn't want him to know that. Mm-hmm. I would say, man, y'all just murked the bitch. Y'all did what you had to do. I said, murked means murder in the slang word, in the street form. he was like, man, we had to. Like, damn, you know, this man just admitted to me this.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of shocking, you know, and I would say other things to him, but as he was saying little things, as I would say something to him, he would reply to it, and when he would reply to it, I would feed it. You know what I'm saying? I would feed his ego. I'd be like, man, damn, dog. You know what I'm saying? You cold killer. I'm making him think I'm giving him props for what he's done. But, you know what I'm saying? And he just bit. You know what I'm saying? I can't say.
So bottom line, what did he tell you happened?
He told me that on the night of the murder, he said Austin Leach is a white guy. Quincy Cross is a black guy. He said that he called out to a mini mart. Austin Leach called from a mini mart to Chris Drive where Quincy Cross had been at. There was a certain party or something going on Chris Drive. You know what I'm saying? And he called out there and asked him for a ride or something to go, supposedly go get his car or something else from a car lot where Austin's car had been at or something like that. It's from my knowledge that Quincy Cross had borrowed another guy's car. When he borrowed the car, he took it to Mayfield. He met Austin Leach by the mini mart. He said he met Austin Leach by the mini mart. When he met him by the mini mart, said they proceeded to go and get Austin Leach's car.
Mm-hmm.
And they parked. I remember he had mentioned a parking lot. I don't know which parking lot. I don't know where it is. But he said, he just kept saying parking lot. Man, I parked the car in a parking lot. You know, that's how he was saying it. I parked the car in a parking lot. When they parked the car in the parking lot, they got in Austin. Both of them got in Austin Leach's car. Well, they was riding around or whatever. This is what I'm getting out of the story. They was riding around it, and they had ran into Venetia, the girl's best friend. From up on a one-way street from what I had talked to Venetia too, and that's what Venetia had told me. She said that she confirmed the story, so I knew it was right. Quincy told me that they ran into Venetia. She jumped in the car and ran in. You know what I'm saying? They wanted Venetia to help Jessica, or help them find Jessica. So she got in the car and they went in, you know what I'm saying, tried to find her. And they ended up running into her at the top of a hill or something like that. It's from my understanding. But
why were they trying to find her?
I have no idea why they was trying to find her.
All right. So they were trying to find her, and then they found her. What happened from there?
He went into the story. Like I said, this story's been, when he told me this was probably February, March, that's several months ago. I tried to get Jamie Mills to come back up and talk to me about it, and I could have went ahead and gave him the full-fledged story, but since then I haven't given him much thought until just recently. I tried to go back and remember what he told me. But, you know, he told me the whole story, but I can't say detail for detail. I can tell you some things he mentioned, but I can't tell you, you know what I'm saying, action for action. You know what I'm saying? Every move he made. You know what I'm saying? He told me, but even then, he didn't go in to say, hey man, I moved my hand here, I moved my hand there. He didn't go in it like that.
Tell me what you remember.
I just remember certain things that he mentioned, you know, like, I remember he mentioned some ripping of some clothes. Several things for real. I remember he mentioning taking the body through a field, dumping the body, Remember him telling me about a Venetia and trying to make her light the matches and throw it on the body.
Mm-hmm.
There's several things. See, I can write them down quick. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got no questions to ask me, so you bring it to my memory.
Did they? How long did they keep her before she died? After they found her, do you remember? Did they say anything like that? Okay. When they were talking about, well, did they talk about beating her up or anything?
Yeah.
Okay.
Quincy was he mentioned. I remember one time he said it was some point they was fighting in the back seat. You know what I'm saying, of Austin's car. It was Venetia and Austin in the front seat, and it was Quincy in the back seat with Jessica.
Mm-hmm.
They was in the back seat and they got to fighting or something. And Jessica at one point, the way he said it, she had got out and started running away from the car, and he got out and chased after her, I guess. And he had mentioned to me he had a bat. You know what I'm saying? He had a bat when she was running. He hit her in the head with the bat. So he hit her several times. She fell. He started kicking her. He was still continuously. Like I said, when I would give him props about the situation, I would feed his ego. And he would, can I show you?
Mm-hmm.
I was sitting on my step,
mm-hmm.
and I had my knees pulled up like this, and I'm looking at it. And he would be like, man, he's just real hyperactive. And he'd go deep into the story. He'd be like, man, I started doing this, man, I was kicking him, man, I was hitting her. You know what I'm saying? He actually acted out. You know, I'm like, God, this dude was crazy. You know what I'm saying? But then I would tell him, man, you're nuts. You know what I'm saying? I guess after me getting in a fight with him, it made him feel better after that. You know, me feeding him, making him feel better about himself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because he's thinking that I'm approving of this. You know what I'm saying? Of what he's done, but really I'm only kick his teeth in. But like I said, at some point she had gotten out of the car, took off running, and he had started beating her, you know what I'm saying, with the bat and stuff like that. But at some point, Austin, they met up, or he drove to her. I can't say, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I remember he mentioned something about dragging her, putting a belt around her neck, and dragging her across the concrete. And he mentioned her grasping for her. She was gagging, you know what I'm saying, trying to get the belt off her neck.
That Quincy was dragging her?
Yeah, Quincy said he was. Quincy was dragging her, you know what I'm saying, on the ground, on the concrete. Mm-hmm. At one point he said he tried to take off running and put the belt on her. Something to try to take off running with the belt on her back, you know what I'm saying, around her neck.
Mm-hmm. Dragging
him across the concrete. I'm like, man, this dude's crucial. You know, he's heartless. He was telling me these things, and I don't remember exactly what point he said, but at some point Austin had got involved or something, and I remember he did say Austin came over and he got a couple kicks in. You know, they was more or less both involved in beating her and stuff like that. You know, they both kicking her and stuff like that. My mind just went blank.
Did Venetia ever tell you that she participated in helping punch or kick or bite, scratch, anything that she could have done?
Venetia said, she told me in her specific words, she said, just because I was there, it does not mean that I participated.
Did she tell you that she did anything to try to stop it?
She said nothing whatsoever. As a matter of fact, she said she deserved it because she's a snitch. I don't know. I don't know if she's gonna tell on one of them guys, or to my knowledge is a police officer, ex-police officer that's involved. Just from my knowledge, so I can't. I'm trying to connect these people together. You know what I'm saying? Here recently, I put a whole lot of thought into it, and I tried to connect it. I can't. There's some dots missing, but there's more dots there than. Yeah.
Okay. So they beat her, put her with a belt around her neck. Then what happened?
I mean, I can't tell you what happened next, but I can tell you I can't go into detail. You know what I'm saying? I can't.
Do you know what? Was she alive when they poured the gas on her? Do you know?
Quincy, I remember he said when he was pulling her with the belt, and she was grasping for her. You know what I'm saying? She's trying to get the belt off her neck, but you know what I'm saying? Quincy said he was dragging her. He mentioned that her body went limp. She stopped doing everything, you know what I'm saying? That's what that meant to me. Going limp, you know, is dead.
Did they tell you who actually pulled the gas on her? Where they got the gas or anything like that?
Yeah. Venetia, Venetia told me that Quincy had stolen a gas can out of a garage. I don't know where the garage is. I don't know nothing about that. You know, he didn't go into that. You know, he didn't tell me 11th Street of this house. You know, he didn't go at the. Venetia told me that he stole the gas can out of a garage. At some point, the gas was poured into another bottle, a water bottle. Venetia told me that after they dumped the body, they had left and at some point and went and got the gas or whatever, and at some point came back and parked the car behind the Board of Education. She did not say that Austin Leach, the white guy, was present at this time. I don't know if he was or not, but said that they had walked back to the crime scene, or not to the crime scene, but the body dumping scene. Because it's, to my knowledge, that she was killed in a certain parking lot, which I don't know which one it is, but she was killed at this parking lot, dumped at the school. They left and returned again. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I'm getting out of the story, you know, from two different parties.
You said earlier that, did you tell me that Venetia was the one that was going to light the matches?
See, I told her that Quincy told me, I said, well, you know, Quincy said, you know what I'm saying, that was just something I threw in, you know, something I made up. You know what I'm saying? I said, well, you know, Quincy told me that you said that you lit the matches. He made you light the matches. She said, no, I didn't light the matches just because.
Jeremy Adams goes on in great detail about how he met Quincy Adams, and gained his trust. He explains how Quincy confessed to him about how he murdered Jessica Currin and disposed of her body. Later in 2003, Fortin resigned from the police department. It was later reported in a local paper that Fortner and the previous assistant police chief both resigned due to corruption. When the reward money for the Jessica Currin's case come up missing, this gave credence to the corruption allegation. The Mayfield Police Department claimed the money was mistakenly spent. The murder remained unsolved. However, Susan Galbraith, an amateur sleuth, became interested in the case. When Jessica Currin's body was found at the Mayfield school, she actually was there near the school, at a coffee shop, when someone mentioned a body was found at the school. She went to the school with a group of other people and saw Jessica's body. After witnessing the scene, and horrific state of Jessica's body, she became consumed with the case. She began gathering information and questioning anyone involved in the case. She felt the victim deserved justice. In 2004, she sent an email to a senior BBC reporter, Tom Mangold, in London asking for help in the case. This wasn't the first email she sent out, but it was the first who responded. He agreed to help her with the case. Mangold flew to Kentucky, and the two went over the case together for days. They interviewed numerous people around Mayfield. Galbraith spoke with the host of the party held on the night of Jessica Currin's murder. The host told Galbraith that on the night of the murder, Quincy Cross was acting strange. He repeatedly told everyone at the party that he wanted to find women. He was high, erratic, and talked the entire time. The pair believed they knew the identity of the killer, Quincy Cross, and gave their information to the Kentucky State Police. However, their revelation was not taken seriously. The identity of a suspect came from evidence withheld from the defense during the Adams case. It revealed that Fortner had been running a parallel investigation into the Jessica Currin investigation, which revealed damning evidence. According to the investigation, two men picked up Jessica Currin on the night of July 30th, sexually assaulted her, and when she resisted, one of them beat her with a wrench, stabbed, then strangled her. It's thought she was also sexually assaulted after death as well. Then her body was burnt. Even though Mangold flew back to London, the two stayed in constant contact, going over new information about the unsolved case. Meanwhile, Jessica's father, Joe Currin, staged protests. In 2004 he was able to convince the new Kentucky Attorney General to probe into the case. Galbraith was dedicated and wanted to prove that Quincy Cross was the killer. She continued to investigate and follow leads. News spread that Galbraith was working the case, and around the same time Quincy Cross began stalking her. She would notice him lurking outside her home, watching her. She feared that she may be murdered, or maybe he was just intimidating her. The new interest in the case led to the state police sending Galbraith wearing a wire to interview the suspect, Quincy Cross, in February of 2005. She pretended to be a true crime author doing research into the Currin murder. Quincy told Galbraith exactly the type of belt that was around Jessica's throat. That detail had never been released to the public. When Galbraith told him what Jessica's body looked like, he got very agitated. Later, when questioned, he told Galbraith he had never hit a girl, but said he would choke one out. He kept asking if any DNA was found on the gas bottle found nearby Jessica's body. 2 months after Galbraith's interview with Cross, an investigator from Al Sharpton's National Action Network got involved in the case. The investigator, Alton MacDonald, deemed the crime a hate crime. However, this was never proven. On December 15 of 2005, Jessica's body was exhumed for a second autopsy. It was reported that useful evidence was collected from the autopsy, however the details of the evidence was never publicized. Due to all the public interest, the Kentucky Attorney General meeting by Jessica's father, and Alton MacDonald's involvement, the case was eventually turned over to the Kentucky Bureau of Investigation. Susan Galbraith turned over all of her work, including notes to the KBI. She included everything on Quincy Cross as well as 4 other people who she uncovered were involved. A few months later, Galbraith started a MySpace tribute to Jessica Currin called Justice for Jessica in an attempt to obtain useful tips. After months with no useful information, she decided to add the names on the page as persons of interest. This led to a woman named Victoria Caldwell sending Galbraith a message saying she would help as much as she could, but she didn't know who she could trust. She was scared that someone would kill her if she testified. Galbraith contacted the KBI, and KBI agents flew to California to pick up Victoria, and bring her back for questioning. Victoria gave her story. She said on the night of July 29 in 2000. Jessica had been walking home from a quiet evening out when Cross had picked her up in a car. Caldwell was a passenger, in the back seat, and observed everything that followed. After picking up Jessica, Cross, and Tamara, sexually harassed Jessica. She asked them to stop and let her out, but they refused. Cross sexually assaulted Jessica, and when she resisted, he stopped the car, reached under the driver's seat and pulled out a small baseball bat. He hit her a few times in the head, knocking her unconscious. He then dragged her into a friend's house where he and others, including Caldwell and Vinisha Stubblefield, had already been drinking alcohol and getting high on cocaine. There, in the course of a second frenzied sexual assault, he tried to force her to give him oral sex, but he couldn't get her mouth open. Jeff Burton raped Jessica while Cross pleasured himself over her body. During this time, Jessica was regaining consciousness, and was saying the name of her son over and over. When the two finished, Cross throttled Jessica, beat her unconscious with a wrench, then strangled her with his belt. She said she could hear Jessica gasping for air, then she stopped breathing. She said she and the other girls wanted to leave but were stopped. Cross wanted everyone there to play a part in the assault, to ensure that they all kept the secret. All 5 sexually assaulted her body after death. After Cross lost interest, everyone did cocaine and began having sex with each other. When the body began to smell, it was moved to the school field. After hearing Victoria's story, investigators tracked down Vinisha Stubblefield. Her story was shockingly similar. The only deviation to Victoria's story is she said they were playing cards prior to the incident, and when Jessica was picked up by Cross she told him that she just wanted a ride home, that she didn't want to go to any party. All other details between Victoria and Vinisha matched. Victoria had fled to California to get away from Cross. She was in fear for her life. On March 30 in 2007, Quincy Cross, Jeffrey Burton, and Tamara Caldwell were indicted for murder, kidnapping, first-degree rape, abuse of a corpse, and tampering with physical evidence. Victoria Caldwell and Vinisha Stubblefield were charged with abuse of a corpse and tampering with evidence. In May of 2007, Vinisha and Victoria pled guilty to abuse of a corpse and evidence tampering. Victoria was sentenced to 5 years. Vinisha received 7 years. In September of 2008, Jeffrey Burton and Tamara Caldwell entered Alford pleas to second-degree manslaughter and abuse of a corpse. Burton also entered an Alford plea for tampering with evidence. He was sentenced to 15 years in prison. Tamara Caldwell received a 10-year prison sentence. Quincy Cross's trial began on March 27 in 2008 and completed on April 8 in the same year. The jury deliberated only 3 hours and found him guilty on all charges. The next day the jury spent 8 hours deliberating if Cross should be given the death sentence. The jury decided to give him 3 life sentences without the possibility of parole. In 2009, Susan Galbraith received the first ever KBI Kentucky Outstanding Citizen Award for her role in solving the Jessica Currin murder case. Susan Galbraith passed away on August 17 in 2008. Since the convictions, Victoria Caldwell and Vinisha Stubblefield have recanted their statements, claiming they were forced to lie by law enforcement officers, and they wanted the reward money offered. Isaac Benjamin and Austin Leach were both later indicted on 2 counts of tampering with evidence in connection with helping dispose of Jessica Currin's body. Isaac Benjamin entered a guilty plea to the charge of tampering with physical evidence. And due to a mistrial, Austin Leach was tried again and found not guilty. After all those allegedly involved in the murder of Jessica Currin were convicted and in prison, there's still valid concerns about this case. There's speculation that a police officer at Mayfield Police Department was romantically involved with Jessica Currin, and may have deliberately sabotaged critical pieces of evidence. However, this has never been proven. Currently everyone but Quincy Cross has served their time and been released from prison. He is serving out his life sentence at the Kentucky Department of Corrections, in the Southeast State Correctional Complex. Jeremy Adams, the father of Jessica's son, always felt a cloud hung over his head. Even though he was cleared of all charges, and others were convicted and sentenced for Jessica's murder, police never publicly cleared his name. He went on the Steve Wilkos show and took a polygraph. The test revealed no deception. Jeremy previously spent 3 years in prison waiting on the trial that fell apart. A private detective still continuously pursues him, claiming he's guilty but has no evidence to back up his claim. On the Steve Wilkos show it appears his reasons was racially motivated. Jeremy was white and Jessica was black, and apparently this doesn't sit well with some. When Steve Wilkos asked this private detective why he believes Jeremy Adams is guilty even though he passed a polygraph, he simply said because he's the father of her baby. Jessica Currin was simply walking home when a familiar face offered her a ride. She just wanted to go home. Instead she was raped and tortured, then strangled. With her dying breath, she repeated her son's name over and over. 5 people were in the home at the time she was being assaulted and not one had compassion to stop this nightmare. Instead they all participated in abusing her corpse. Her son was raised by Jessica's parents. He was robbed of his mother in the most vicious way possible. Despite the loss of his mother, he grew into a young man who is thriving. A few people think the wrong people were charged with this crime. Is it possible that someone in the Mayfield Police Department hid evidence to cover up a murder by one of their own? Or is the right man behind bars? May Jessica Currin rest in peace. That concludes this video. If you enjoy true crime videos like this one, consider subscribing. Thanks for watching.
Want to help support the channel you love, and get something in return? Simply purchase some Elizabeth's Chronicles merch. We have coffee mugs, t-shirts, sweatshirts, cozy blankets, beach towels, phone covers and more. Use the coupon code EC10OFF4U and get 10% off your order. The link to order is in the description area below this video. Thanks for helping Elizabeth's Chronicles continue to make the videos you love.